Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Light Sports Ramble. As always, my pleasure. You may have noticed last night there was no published ramble. And it wasn't even on purpose. I had every intention last night to publish the ramble. Got caught up at work, stayed a little bit later. Was going to head over to the Detour Bar and Grill, my favorite establishment after work. Have a couple beverages. Never have usually more than 3. That's my limit. Every bartender knows that, including the best bartender, Kaylee, who had a chance to listen to the ramble last night. And so I wanted to give her props, the best bartender at the Detour Bar and Grill, Kaylee. There you go. There's your shout out. But then I was going to leave and do the ramble. And I was going to do it on the concussion settlement that the NFL handed out. I thought it was pretty interesting. And I will get to it probably after the holiday. But have you ever run across somebody that was just intriguing? And you could sit down, you start a conversation, and you can just talk for hours. And that's what happened last night. By the time I looked at it, it was nearly midnight. And at that point, I had so many thoughts running through my head, because here's a situation that we had so much in common. And the topic tonight is going to be the NCAA. I talked about the greed that they had in the Johnny Manziel case. What do they do to help those student athletes that suffer? And I mean suffer by failing out of school. Those athletes, and not even just Division I, I'm talking Division II, Division III, that fail out of school. What is the NCAA doing about it? Because the situation last night, and I'm not going to use names, and I'm not going to embarrass this guy's child, or even the university that he went to, because I'm going to blame the coach. But the story is short. His son was a very good high school running back, got signed to a Division I full-ride scholarship, and after 6 semesters, all F's, and he failed out. Now he's working manual labor, trying to get back into school. Maybe. So my point is, what was this coach doing? What was the coach doing? How did he let it get to 6 semesters of F's? Maybe I was blessed with a very good coach that cared about his student athletes. Because my personal story, I was a very intelligent high school student too. I was 19th in my class, had like a 3.5 GPA, but I had no study habits. None whatsoever. When I got to college, I was playing athletics, playing soccer, trying to handle 5 classes, and of course the social life that comes with being in college at 18 years old. And I was immature. And I really struggled. I went to every class. I just struggled. I didn't have study habits. I thought I could do like I did in high school and do the work the day before, study for the test the day before, and it just didn't work. At midterm, I had 3 D's and 2 F's. Coach pulled me into his office, and he said, "Troy, why are you here?" I said, "To play soccer, Coach." He said, "Wrong answer." And he slid the paper across his desk. He goes, "Explain this." And I said, "I'm struggling, Coach." He goes, "Damn right you're struggling. Pack your bags and go home. You're here to get an education, not to play soccer." I sat in awe, and I sat there like a bump on a log, and Coach said, "Boy, did you not hear me? Pack your bags and go home." And again, still shell-shocked, he said it one more time. He goes, "Did you not hear me? Pack your bags and go home. You're not welcome on my team anymore if you're not going to get the grades." Well, I started to get up, and he said, "Sit down. Do you understand you're here to get an education first, then play soccer?" I said, "Yes, Coach." So what Coach did is put me in study hall for each of my 5 classes on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday evening. Do you know how bad that messed up my social schedule? But I'll tell you what, I graduated in 4.5 years because I gained some valuable study habits. and I really placed then an emphasis on my studies. So my point, how did we let this athlete, or not how did we, how did that coach let his player get 6 Fs in 6 semesters and fail out? Being reactive, just kicked him off the team. Why didn't he help him? Why didn't he put him in study table? Why didn't he monitor his grades? Easy things to do. So my point today, with the greedy NCAA, why don't they take some of this millions and billions of dollars that they get every year from the Johnny Manziels and the BCS and March Madness and give back to the schools? Help those students that are never going to play professional athletics. Help them. Maybe sanction study tables. Actually, any university that falls under the NCAA sanction should be able to apply for a grant to run paid study tables, not just for athletes, for any student that attends the university. Now, the grant can be divvied up in proportion to the number of students enrolled at the university or something like that. But the overall concept is to provide resources for those students that are struggling that may fail out. And if you notice, I said students because I know a number of students who do not play athletics that are struggling, that do not take advantage of the resources at the university. But why not try to help? Those students may not have a coach that forces them to go to study table, but at least it will be available. And coaches, I was a coach too. And I was proactive with my players. Study table on Tuesday and Thursday evening, 6 to 8 for anyone under a 3.0. Every 2 or 3 weeks, I requested in an email from the instructors of all my players a grade update, attendance update. And I monitored the progress. If they were struggling, I made sure they got help. Because my goal was to see my athletes graduate. I think a lot of these coaches are more worried about the W's and not worrying about the longevity and the life of these students. So you know what, NCAA, you want to be greedy, you want to collect all the money, start paying it back. Start paying back to those universities that are under your sanction and offer them an opportunity to apply for a grant that will allow for paid study tables. And what I mean by paid is somebody qualified to be there to help tutor. Maybe additional computers for a computer lab. But something to give these students resources to allow them the opportunity to stay on track to graduate instead of failing out. And so that's my take today, folks. Stems from a story last night from a gentleman at the bar that I had a great conversation with. Let's get some help for those student athletes who are not going to play professional, need a degree to better their life. Let's help them from the coaches level all the way up to the NCAA, and let's get something in place to help these players. With that said, people, enjoy your holiday. I'll come back to you maybe Monday on the holiday when I drive back to Indy. I probably will because it'll be a nice 6-hour drive. But be safe, be responsible. I'll talk to you on Monday night. I'll see you at the next red light, people. Enjoy your weekend.